Natalia. I'm a project manager at Excalibur, and I will be moderator for today's workshop. The topic for today is Excalibur SAM, multi-tenancy and network policies. Mark will talk about today's agenda in more detail. Next, Edward will focus on the stream access management, or SAM, platforms that we designed and developed. After that, Mark will provide a focused look at how multi-tenancy and network security are handled in Excalibur SAM. After that, we will discuss how network policies work with Excalibur SAM, highlighting our two-layered security model. This will be followed by another demonstration showing how network policies are configured and managed for individual tenants. We also invite you to participate actively in the workshop by asking questions and contributing to the discussion at any time. Of course, there will be also a dedicated Q&A session at the end, but if you would prefer to postpone a question, please post in the chat under Q&A and we will get back to it with an answer. If you would like to ask questions during the session, which we appreciate, you can raise your hand and we will give you an opportunity to ask or discuss directly. Mark, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Natalia. So let's go through the agenda first. So I would like to talk about what is waiting for us, what I will be talking about on this workshop. So in a few seconds, Edo will shortly talk about the Excalibur as a company, as usual. Then he will talk a little bit about the Excalibur SAM, what it is, what's the overview, and so on. And then we will move to the application multi-tenancy principles. So I will show you what the basic and mandatory principles or details about multi-tenant applications are. And then I will talk in detail about the Excalibur SAM as the multi-tenant application. Then I will try to demonstrate how the multi-tenancy is being used or is being configured in practice. Also, I will focus on tenant provisioning and configuration. Also, I will talk a little bit about the mobile application as well. Then we will move to the next topic, which is network policies in Excalibur SAM, because this topic is quite important to successfully and to not only successfully, but make tenant configuration functional based on the common practices. Also, there will be a live demo within this topic, so I will show you how to configure the network policies and what are the possibilities of the graphical user interface. The last section will be dedicated for your questions, and me or somebody else will try to answer them. Okay, so Edo, please go ahead.
Thank you, Marek. All right, let's go through the standard and mandatory part. So Excalibur is a Slovakian-based cybersecurity vendor with a specification for the multi-factor PEM and AI-driven web solution. Basically, we are part of the multiple European bodies as ACCC or the European Cybersecurity Organization, meaning that all of these bodies are recognizing the Excalibur's technology is something that requires some attention, and it's really supported also from the grant system that they are providing. We are also the part of the EUDIS program, the European Defense Innovation Scheme. So also this is also one part where we are also engaging with the defense sectors as it is. We are also fully ISO certified, and right now will be mentioned also in the Kuppinger Cole. I guess it's just the list of the PAM vendors and the descriptions, so on. So that's the short overview of the company, and of course, let's move on to the description, like the main differentiation between the PAM and the SAM as it is. So the standard privilege access management is focused on a standard privileged view, so meaning administrators or managers or so on, but the ERA requires something more stronger and to protect also the standard users, as also the standard users might be the gateway for the attackers into the infrastructure, where then they can get lateral movement and can cause any incident or issues. So we are focusing on the isolation of all the users, and we are isolating them by stream. So meaning we are not extending that connection directly to the user. Rather than that, we are creating just enough space for the user to make his job, to do his tasks, and then to just lock off. So these are the main differentiators. And let's focus on four basic layers that we provide within the Excalibur. One is the multi-factor authentication, where we are stripping away the credentials and using phone and the biometry and geolocation as main factors. So these are the factors that the user already has. So we don't require users to change to something completely new, but to something that they already have. Then once the user is authenticated, he will log into the dashboard, and the dashboard provides multiple possibilities for the granularization. And what is main information over here is that you just need the HTML5 browser, and that means that your PC or your laptop or whenever you are joining is just kind of a gateway. So your laptop is not directly connecting to the resources. It's just through the stream possibility. And then, of course, everything that is happening within this stream and within this connection everything is authenticated through biometry, and all these actions are cryptographically signed, and they are fully auditable and visible, not only just for the internal audits, but also to identify any possible incidents and connect them to the certain users, where the user can't tell then that their credentials were stolen or so. No, they are facing and they're connected with their face or fingerprint directly to the action. And of course, if that's not enough, there is a fourth layer, which is the AI oversight, which brings kind of a cybersecurity specialist on top of the shoulder of each of these users, and these AI oversight agents are watching what the user is doing and is capable of stopping the session if there is something that is not required from the session or from the user or even from the target as it is. So these are the main layers that we are bringing into the table. And of course, about the multitenancy and deeper overview, Marek will have this in a much more detail. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edo. So we can continue with the main topic, which is focused or dedicated to multi-tenant application principles, and also how Excalibur SAM includes those principles and can act or can work as the multi-tenant platform. Okay, so when we are talking about the multi-tenancy, first we need to define it. So basically, the multi-tenancy is the functional concept in a modern software or modern application architecture, and mainly for those applications that are being delivered as the service. So basically, almost all cloud applications of major vendors are multi-tenant. So it means that the simple software application instance or deployment is used to serve multiple customers, so-called tenants, at the same time. But not only the same application instance, but also the infrastructure on which the application is running on is used for these purposes as well. So in these kind of scenarios, we need to ensure that each tenant could be a completely separated organization or department or business unit, but not only as the object, but also we need to take care that the whole application data, configuration objects, for example, the user accounts as well, are completely isolated and kept private. The reason why the multi-tenancy is the very popular approach is obviously that it allows multiple clients to share the same underlying platform to help organizations or companies to reduce costs, centralize the management, and also possibilities to scale to many other tenants or entities without duplicating the application or infrastructure resources. And also for the tenants themselves, the experience is absolutely seamless. Maybe there are several users acting in multiple tenants simultaneously, and this is quite useful for users to see the same application environment, the same graphical user interface, basically all of the important details regarding the user experience are the same within the multiple tenants of simple application or single application instance. Okay, but what's more important that we need to ensure the user's privacy and also the tenant application data separation. On the picture down below on the slide, basically I enlisted a few types of multi-tenant applications. So basically the first approach, and it is quite a historical one. In the past, we had separate application, and each application instance was using the separate database for application data. Then there was the next generation of multi-tenant applications where the application deployment or instance was the same, was shared between multiple tenants, but databases were still separated. Also, together with the third type, where the application is as a shared resource, and database for application data is shared between tenants as well. Then there are several different hybrid scenarios where you can basically have multiple databases for each application. Maybe some or one type of database is being shared, the other databases are not, and so on and so forth. And basically, the Excalibur is such hybrid type of multi-tenant application as well, since we are not talking just only about the application components, application database, but also we need to talk a little bit about the PAM session recordings and other objects that are some of them are dedicated for each tenant, and the rest is shared between multiple tenants. So yeah, we can say Excalibur SAM is such a hybrid type of multi-tenant application. Okay, so regarding benefits, I already started to talk a little bit about them, but first I would like to talk about the resource optimization. So I already told the multi-tenant applications share infrastructure and all the services which are needed to run those multi-tenant applications. So the organizations or uh, providers can reduce hardware and operational expenses, so they can make them much more cost effective. Second, also maintenance becomes much easier. So when there is a need to apply some update or some kind of security hotfix, or just hotfix to solve some existing bugs, this basically can be done centrally. So I will apply all the necessary patches or bug fixes once, and it will be automatically published for all configured or running tenants within that application deployment. Also, this kind of deployment reduces downtimes, and also it reduces management effort, because my application administrators will apply those patches only once, and basically they are done. They are finished. That's it. Okay, so the third point is talking about the multi-tenancy as a possibility to allow the scalability. Yeah, as the organization grows and new customers are being onboarded, or users are being onboarded, or units, or basically the tenants, the system can adapt quite quickly without any additional investments, any additional infrastructure configuration, and so on. Yeah, about the user experience, I was already talking about. So basically, all the users from all the tenants can interact with the same software, with the same graphical user interface, which ensures uniformity and the feature parity and the reliability across all the tenants. And the last bullet is talking about the simplified operations. So basically, each application which I'm running as the provider for the users, I need to be ensured that the applications are being monitored. Also, if there is some necessity for troubleshooting, or maybe just the basic user support, the multi-tenancy allows all of those details to be streamlined. And yeah, those are benefits not only for the users or tenants, but also for the providers as well. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the challenges. So first, we need to ensure that tenants or user from different tenants cannot see application data or configuration or whatever which does not belong to that appropriate tenant in which the user is currently working in or on. So the application development principle, or no, but not only the development but also deployment principles. They must make sure that secure boundaries are created or designed on almost every layer of the application itself. So we need to talk about the database and application data stored in database. Also, APIs, they need to be isolated as well from each other, from or between the tenants. And also the user interface could be, it does not need to be, but could be isolated on the, for example, HTTP or HTTPS protocol as well. So since there are multiple tenants being hosted by the single or the same application instance, also the security risks are higher. So each maybe application or some kind of attack breach could then affect multiple tenants. So yeah, providers need quite strong authentication when managing the infrastructure, and also those systems or multi-tenant systems needs to be audited on a regular basis. Also, the performance management is quite critical because, for example, one tenant can use a lot of resources, but the other tenants do not. So we need to somehow take care about those issues, about those requirements, and we need to deploy all necessary infrastructure components. For example, load balancing and maybe some other stuff, which will help us to avoid so-called noisy neighbor issues. So yeah, we can easily utilize, for example, possibilities of Kubernetes or OpenShift clusters, and Excalibur SAM as the cloud native application also can utilize those possibilities. So for example, the horizontal pod autoscaling functionality, which is basically available in almost all types of Kubernetes or OpenShift clusters. And we can quite easily solve those issues by utilizing, for example, the horizontal pod autoscaler. So if there is some tenant or users from one particular tenant which utilize the system more, so the Kubernetes cluster can take care about them, can run multiple replicas of critical application components to ensure all those users are being served or can run or can work within the application as easily as, for example, the other tenants with much less number of users. Okay, and yeah, finally, we need to talk a little bit about the compliance as well. So it's quite challenging as well. So providers needs to ensure that the application and the infrastructure where the application is running on are regulations compliant. So, for example, GDPR, maybe GDPR in these kind of scenarios is much important, or the most important regulation, since there are multiple tenants. Each tenant can be different company or different organization. So yeah, this is quite important to be GDPR compliant for sure. Also, if we are talking about the MSP providers that will use multi-tenant applications as much as possible, then also those applications should meet the NIS2 and also the appropriate ISO standards as well. Okay, so yeah, to be sure that everything's fine, everything's compliant, or to overcome already mentioned problems, issues, and obstacles, or challenges, multi-tenant systems need careful design, also the careful deployment, thorough testing of both, and the proactive monitoring as well. All right, so those were the multi-tenancy principles of multi-tenant applications. And now let's look at the Excalibur SAM as the multi-tenant platform. Okay, so how is the Excalibur solving those challenges regarding the multi-tenancy? First, we can talk about the dedicated user interface. So on the slide, there is a sentence that each tenant operates in separate environment. It is true, and it is also true when you will check the URL in your browser. So each tenant operates in dedicated URL boundaries, and we call them URL or URI slug. I will show you that a little bit later in the demo, how you can easily distinguish between multiple tenants, and also how this functionality makes life of users which are working in multiple tenants much easier. All right. The second principle the Excalibur is using in the Excalibur SAM as multi-tenant application is about dedicated application components. So basically, when there is a new tenant configured and created on the Kubernetes or OpenShift cluster, the application itself will take care, will contact cluster API, and we'll ask for dedicated application components to be created. So when there is a new tenant created, new application components are also being created on the Kubernetes or OpenShift clusters. When old tenant is being removed, also those application components are removed automatically. And the last principle is talking about the scalable design. So that means we also utilized possibilities of those Kubernetes and OpenShift clusters to quite quickly and effectively scale those tenants where the overall user demand is higher. So basically, if the tenant number one has thousands of users, we can easily and not very, but automatically scale up the tenant number one. However, for example, tenant number two consists only of few tens of users. So basically, there is much less resources needed for those users to work or to use the application without any problems. I think we have some kind of, no, we have only new
Yes,
attendee. Yeah. So, okay, there is no question. But again, if there are some questions, don't hesitate and ask them uh, anytime you wish. Okay. Yeah, those were three major points or principles about the Excalibur SAM as the multi-tenant application. But also, there are a few more, for example, security, or maybe some dedicated configuration objects as well. I will talk them a little bit later, maybe on the next slides. But now I would like to show you high-level design or high-level principle, how the Excalibur SAM as the multi-tenant application works. Let me switch on the laser pointer. Yeah, it is. No, this one is. All right. So hopefully you can see that. Yeah, on the right side, we have basically users from multiple tenants connecting to Kubernetes or OpenShift cluster, where the Excalibur SAM is running in the multi-tenant mode. And as you can see, there are application components, those yellow, blue, and green, running across multiple nodes of such Kubernetes or OpenShift clusters. It's being designed quite smartly because those, for example, tenant dedicated application components can talk to each other, and it doesn't matter on which specific node those application components are running. In the middle and lower part of the image, you can see that we are utilizing also the shared storage. It is shared between multiple tenants. Application database as well is shared between multiple tenants, and also some specified components of Kubernetes or OpenShift clusters are shared between tenants as well. So, for example, the cluster ingress controller, maybe the logging and monitoring as well. When we are talking about the shared space or storage for session recordings, also shared database for application data, those can be easily backup by Excalibur dedicated backup component. And also then the management, observability, and monitoring is much easier, and that's this part. So that means if everything's shared between multiple tenants, it can be also quite easily being managed and monitored as well. And on the right side of the image, I have, for example, multiple dedicated networks for each tenant, or tenant-owned network segments or infrastructure segments as well. So basically, this is how it works. And that's it. Are there any questions, maybe, regarding this picture? Nothing so far. All right, so I will continue, and let's talk about the tenants in Excalibur SAM. Yeah, I already mentioned each tenant has specified dedicated set of application components. I will show you them a little bit later in the demo. And yeah, when there is a tenant created, also the dedicated set of application components is being created. When the tenant is removed, those dedicated application components are removed as well. Each tenant can utilize his own set of identity stores and also a set of users. But there are also possibilities that the same identity store is being configured and used in multiple tenants. And also the same user accounts are used in the multiple tenants as well. This I will show you in the mobile application in the demo part of the workshop. Okay, so now let's talk about the security configuration objects. Those are, for example, security policies, rule sets, also geofences and geofence groups, and also the network policies. Basically, there is a system part of the Excalibur SAM platform, which is called the system tenant or a tenant zero, and objects created within the system tenant, especially the security policies, rule sets, geofences with the geofence groups, can be shared with multiple tenants. So basically, the tenant administrators can use those objects created by system administrator or system tenant administrator. But there are also possibilities that the tenant administrator will create his own resources or configuration objects and will use them in the configuration. However, the network policies, those are specified and dedicated for each tenant separately. They are not shared. They can be configured, and they do not have to be configured. But if there is such configuration, it will be applied to appropriate tenant and to his dedicated application components. Regarding the network policies, that's the second part of our workshop, so I will talk about them a little bit later. Okay, the last slide regarding this part is talking about the application component automatic provisioning. So basically, dedicated components for each tenants are PAM components. This is the security perspective. So we need to be 100% sure that users from tenant number one cannot somehow manipulate or interact with sessions, with session recordings from the tenant number two, especially if maybe there could be some bug hidden from regular testing, maybe regular security audit or pen testers also did not discover those bugs. And in some specific situation, if there will be no dedicated application components for each tenant, maybe users can see the data from other tenants. So that's the main reason why we decided to provision dedicated application components and especially the PAM components. So those are the session manager or session management, which is taking care in the real time when the user requests a new PAM session. Yeah, that's the dedicated session manager for each tenant and for those tenant users. Also, the session recording engine is being dedicated for each tenants. Also, the remote virtual browser is also a dedicated component for each tenant as well. Since we can horizontally scale those components, such as the session manager or session recording engine, we need to have them load balanced somehow internally within the Kubernetes cluster. And we also decided to create those load balancers as dedicated objects as well. And also, we need to talk about the relevant Kubernetes services that are being dedicated for each particular tenant. And with the services, we can also talk about the cluster configuration objects. So yeah, network policies. Network policies are configuration objects that you can configure for each tenant separately. But those configurations are not only for application itself, but they are being also applied on the Kubernetes or OpenShift cluster level. So there are basically two layers of protection. Which layer is the network engine of the Kubernetes cluster itself, and the second layer is the application logic. So still, if in some special scenarios the application logic will fail, we are still covered or protected by network engine of the cluster itself. And I already mentioned the possibility to scale pod or application services horizontally. So those configuration objects, horizontal pod autoscalers, are dedicated for each tenant. Then also, when we are talking about the traffic or network traffic or network connectivity between Excalibur SAM, which could be running as software as a service, and some isolated network segments of customers or tenants, we also decided to make them independent from each other, from tenant to tenant. So that means every tunnel server listener, which is configured in tenant or within the system tenant or tenant 0, those are dedicated as well. On the picture in the right side, you can basically see those application components as they were created, and also the Excalibur configuration checker or configuration manager not only creates those components, but also is periodically checking if those components are being still present on the cluster itself. Maybe somehow the administrator of the cluster accidentally deletes some of them. So Excalibur SAM configuration manager will take care, and after the periodic check, if there are some discrepancies detected, the configuration manager will create those application components or configuration objects again. Okay, so let's check the multi-tenancy demo. As I promised, I'm going to show you those in real environment, which is based on the OKD cluster, but OKD is the upstream of OpenShift. So basically, it is the same as the OpenShift, and The nice property of this environment or management is that it is visual based, and you can easily see what's going on the cluster level. So I'm going to create a new tenant, and we can then visually check what's going on if those dedicated application components were successfully created. And also we can compare that with the Excalibur dashboard. Okay, so I'm going to split the view like such, and I will open a new window just to see what's going on, like such. Okay, so Excalibur, this one. I will sign in using my mobile application. And I'm going to log into the system tenant to be able to create new tenants. All right, in the list of tenants, I have a few of them, basically 3. So I'm going to create a 4th one, and I need to move this visual representation of the application components a little bit so you can easily see what will happen. Okay, so I'm going to create a new tenant, so I will call that like such. I will also create an alias for the tenant. Basically, it will be used as a slug. I will show you in a few minutes what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm not going to create any network policies, nothing like that for now. I'm just going to save the configuration. Okay, the tenant was created, and you can easily see on the right window of my browser that something happened, that this rectangle already changed, and there are some new application components created. Those 4, yeah. This is the PAM session recorder. This is the PAM session manager. This is the PAM session load balancer. And also this one is the new virtual browser, which is also dedicated. So basically 4 application payload or load components, but it's not all. We can check further on. Also, there are multiple configuration objects created on the OpenShift cluster as well. So, for example, as you can see, there is the network policy configuration object created. Let's check that. It is called UACD tenant number 10 network policy. So I'm going to the OpenShift management, to the networking section, and I'm opening the network policy section. And right here, as you can see, that network policy has been created. Also, autoscaler has been created. So let's go to a compute, and let's check. No, sorry, we need to go to workload, and now we go to horizontal pod autoscalers, and we are looking for the autoscaler which is called PAM tenant number 10. So PAM tenant number 10. Yeah, here it is. This is it. So it has been created automatically by Excalibur. Also, there are multiple other dedicated configuration objects. For example, the load balancer configuration, also the virtual browser auto-scaling object, and so on and so forth. If I will, for example, remove this network policy object, maybe accidentally or maybe intentionally, we will see what will happen. Okay, so this one. Yeah, the name is the same. I'm going to delete that. Delete network policy. Yep, like such. It's gone. We would need to wait several minutes for the configuration manager to detect the discrepancy. And when the discrepancy will be detected, that network policy object will be recreated. We can check that a little bit later. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the multi-tenancy in the mobile application. So let's try to log in to this Excalibur SAM instance. And as you can see, my mobile application, my token is asking me, okay, please select the user you want to use to log in to the system. Basically, I have two user accounts registered on my smartphone, but the first user is registered in two independent tenants. The first one is the demo tenant created for demo purposes, and also the same user was registered by me to the system tenant. So I will use the system tenant to log in. Yep. And as you can see, I was successfully logged in to the system tenant with this user, which is called James McNeil. I will log out, and I will try to scan the QR code again. Now I'm going to select the Maxwell Vents. We'll provide a biometry. And again, as you can see, I was logged in with the Maxwell Vents account. So this means you can use a single mobile application instance. You can register as much users as you need to your smartphone. And also, those users can be from single tenant, or they can be from multiple tenants as well. And if I will check my mobile application for registered account, basically here you can see all customers or companies that are using Excalibur SAM software. If I will open one of them, then you can see multiple deployments of Excalibur SAM. Each of those deployments can be can consist of multiple tenants, for example, like such. And here you can see those registered accounts as they belong to particular tenants. So you will have only one application. You will use that application on your smartphone for multiple application instances or deployments. Also, each deployment can consist of multiple tenants. And also, you can register multiple users from multiple tenants in single smartphone application instance. So, multi deployment, multi-tenant, multi-user possibilities of the mobile application. Okay, so let's check the demo or the lab environment again. Okay, the dashboard is still talking to me that the network policy is there, it's fine. So let's check that again here in the dashboard. Yeah, as you can see, the configuration manager has detected it is the missing object and it was recreated again. So basically, this is how the multi-tenancy within the Excalibur SAM works. And that multi-tenancy functionality is being augmented by possibilities of Kubernetes or OpenShift clusters. And this is main reason why we require for such deployments that will utilize multi-tenancy and also high availability possibilities. That's the reason why the Kubernetes or OpenShift clusters environments are required to deploy. Okay, any questions? All right, nothing so far, so we can continue with the presentation and also finally with the second demo as well. All right, so why network policies? You may ask why I need those. Yeah, maybe you are quite a big or enterprise customer. You have deployed your own dedicated Excalibur SAM running, for example, on-prem on your Kubernetes cluster. And by the way, the Kubernetes cluster is being shared by multiple applications. And you don't want those applications to be able to access specified network subnets or segments or VLANs. And maybe there is a requirement that the other application can access those segments or subnets. And the same is with the Excalibur multi-tenancy. So for example, I can create, or that specific customer will create multiple tenants. Each tenant will be dedicated to appropriate IT department. So for example, database admins will have their own dedicated tenant for database management. Also, there are network administrators also as a part of your IT department. So the Excalibur administrator will create a dedicated tenant for them and will configure the Excalibur SAM to allow only connectivity to management interfaces of network devices, for example. Why we need those network policies? That's the fundamental question, but the answer is very easy or very simple. Basically, when application running on a Kubernetes cluster is connecting to some specific IP address, the network model of Kubernetes network is flat. And that means that application, for example, or pod running on one node can freely communicate with not only the other applications or other pods running within the same namespace, but also with the pods running in different namespaces. And this is the place or situation where the network policies are coming to the stage. Also, I already started to talk about the different network segments and VLANs, and the reason where, or the request or requirement that we need to somehow differentiate possibilities to access those dedicated network segments. And basically, when the application is connected to the outside world, the application which is running as a pod on a Kubernetes cluster, those private pod IP addresses are being translated or masqueraded by IP address of the Kubernetes cluster node. So we do not know, or the network firewalls do not know the exact application or pod identity of that application component. And this is the second reason why we decided to implement such functionality to be able to configure network policies separately for each tenant. And also, as I was already talking about, there is a two-layered system or protection. A first layer is the Excalibur SAM application logic. And if it will fail, it should not, but it somehow could in some specific situation. There is the second level, and that level is based on Kubernetes or OpenShift network policies. So those are two main reasons why there are possibilities to configure network policies within the Excalibur SAM. And yeah, there is also a picture in the bottom of the screen which explains the whole situation or whole use case. So yeah, there is incoming traffic from the users. Maybe that traffic is being routed by the Kubernetes ingress controller, and there can be applied those network policies as well. But in Excalibur, we do not use them. But if you wish, if you need, you can do so. You can configure your own network policies within the Kubernetes or OpenShift cluster configuration. They will effectively allow or block incoming network traffic as you need. And yeah, regarding the egress network traffic, and especially to the tenant-related network segments or VLANs, you can utilize Excalibur network policy configuration. It will do the same on the level of Kubernetes or OpenShift clusters. Yeah, regarding the multi-layer network policies, I almost explained what I needed to explain. Yeah, first layer, Kubernetes network management. So you can basically configure whatever you want. Excalibur configuration possibilities or configuration engine will help you with this quite easily, because in the demo, I will show you how easy it is to configure network policies or multiple network hosts and so on. Yeah, those network policies are dedicated to each tenant to ensure the secure and strong user isolation or application data isolation as well. The second layer, yeah, that's the Excalibur network policy management. network policy configuration is dedicated for each tenant separately. As you already saw, it evaluates the presence of the configuration objects within the Kubernetes or OpenShift clusters. And also, I forgot to mention that the network policies can be managed only by system administrators, not by tenant administrators themselves. On the slide, on the picture, you can see how those network configuration objects can look like. Let's check the demo, and I will show you more. Okay, I will utilize this locked in Excalibur dashboard. As you can see, I'm logged as the system administrator, basically as the user which can administrate system tenant or tenant 0. And I already created a dedicated tenant, which is called the workshop tenant. Now I need to configure specific network IP ranges to have these tenant configure to be able to access only specific network segments or specific subnets or specific hosts. Let's go to the security policy, and let's try to security policy, but the network policy. Okay, network policy. Sorry, it is located in the network tab. Yeah, and you can do two things. First one is to configure your network policy configuration manually. There are multiple formats supported. So, for example, if you need to define a network subnet in CIDR format, you can proceed, you can do so. So I will configure this network. Now, I would like to configure a range because it could not be the whole network subnet. It could be a range, so I can do so. So, for example, I'm going to configure something like this. So, third octet will be 1, since the previous configuration configured the whole third octet, which is 0, and the rest will be like such. Okay. Now, I need to configure, for example, specific host like such. Absolutely possible. Okay, I can configure the FQDN. So, for example, like such, domain local. Or I can specify IPv6 if I need to. So, yeah, there is a need on the Kubernetes or OpenShift clusters to have IPv6 stack configured and running, and then you can utilize IPv6 network policies. But it should work absolutely the same way as the IPv4 works. So you can specify some kind of IPv6 address, and also you can specify the shortened IPv6 format. So give me a second. I will try to Google one. IPv6 shortened format. So, for example, this IPv6 IP address can be shortened because there are several zeros, but I can use the long format as well, or I can use the shortened one as well, like such. And that's it. Also, there are possibilities to import the network configuration records from some kind of text file. So there is a button to do so. Or you can copy and paste the content of the text file if you wish. But basically, the format is very simple. So if you need to specify multiple IP addresses, you can do so, and the delimiter is basically the new line. So after each IP address, there is the new row or new line, beginning and continuing with the other IP address. Also, you can use those ranges of IP addresses. You can also specify IPv6s, IPv6 IP addresses, and also you can use the shortened format in the import functionality as well. Also, it is possible to configure a single IP address if you need to do so. So, for example, not this one, but this one, like such. Or some orthodox network administrators are using this format as well for single host, and it is supported as well, like such. Okay, there is very important information to be mentioned about these network policies. If you will specify hosts or host names like those two, and DNS server is being used that will translate your host names to the IP addresses, and those DNS servers are from different subnet or different VLAN, you need to also whitelist or create configuration records for those DNS servers. Because in the tenant, there are dedicated application components. The PAM session manager and also PAM recording manager are dedicated components. So we need to ensure that those components can connect to the DNS servers. So that's the reason why we need to configure DNS servers in the tenants as well. Also, in some scenarios, if there is a need to configure a dedicated or specific or tenant specific identity store, and it is on-prem Active Directory, we also need to think about it and to whitelist those IP addresses in the network policies as well. So yeah, if I will configure network policies, which basically tells to Excalibur, okay, this is the whitelist, this is the list of allowed IP addresses, host names, IP ranges, and so on. There should be included also the Active Directory servers and also the DNS servers as well. Okay, this is it. Maybe the second important information, if I will do not configure anything in the network policy, that means that the full network access is granted for those dedicated application components of the tenants, and that's it. Okay, now I remember I almost forgot to talk about the tenant configuration in the general section, where we configured sorry, it's not visible in here. Maybe it will be visible yeah, it is. The alias. Basically, the alias is the part of the URL which will be used to connect to login to the tenant. You can, in principle, configure some kind of human-friendly alias type or alias name, and that alias name then will be used by users to directly log in to the tenant. I will show you that right now. So in this window, I already demonstrate how to log in to the system. And sorry, I need to share this one as well. Yeah. So the smartphone is asking me, okay, please provide the or select the proper user. And yeah, I would like to log in to the this tenant with this user, like such. Okay. Yeah, I'm in. And yeah, as you can see, right now I logged in not to the system, but to the tenant, which is called demo tenant number 1, with the user James McNeil, and the URL of the tenant is this one. If I will check the tenant name and the tenant alias for this tenant, and I will do so just to show you. Okay, new private window. I'm going to sign in using the Maxwell ones, which is the system administrator. Okay. I'm going to enlist the demo tenant number 1. And here you can see that alias. So alias is demo dash tenant number 1. In the URL of the tenant, you can see that this is tenant slash and that specific alias demo dash tenant number 1. Why it is important? Because when we have a user which has multiple users configured, and he still needs to select the proper user from proper tenant during the time, it can be quite inconvenient for the user. So we decided also to provide more convenient way how to log in to the tenant, and basically it is to use the URL. So I will copy this URL like such. I will paste that into the incognito window, and also I will highlight my my smartphone window like such. Okay, and I'm going to load the page, basically pressing the enter. Come on, I will log out. Okay. Again, I will paste the URL. like such. All right. I will scan the QR code. It was not working for me. I don't know why, but it should work. Yeah, this is the correct URL. Okay, so tenant alias and then slash login. So basically, this URL can be added by to the favorites items of the user. And now, if I will scan the QR code, the mobile application is no longer asking me, okay, please select the user and continue. Basically, it selected the user automatically based on the tenant name, which is, by the way, provided directly in the URL, and that information transposed to the QR code on the screen. So my smartphone already knows which tenant I'm going to log in. And since regarding this tenant, which is called tenant number 1 or demo tenant number 1, come on, settings, Excalibur, demo environment, and demo tenant number 1, you can see I have only one user registered and active within this tenant. So that means when I'm going to log in to that tenant using dedicated URL, URL with alias or with the slug in the string, my smartphone automatically knows that he can only use this only one single registered user into this tenant. So it selected automatically and asked me, okay, please provide the biometry and maybe other authentication factors that are configured within the tenant to be able to log in. So this is the principle how it works, how the slug or how the alias can make life of the users much easier. And yeah, this is it. But sometimes it can be misleading. So we also created a tenant selector for the users. So basically, if user wants to switch between tenants, he can to do so using this functionality. So I'm going to switch to the system tenant because I need to. Yeah, it is in Slovak language, but basically the system is telling me, okay, please log out because you need to be logged out, like such. Please confirm and log out. So I will do so. And as you can see, I was automatically redirected to the home page. That means there is no more the name or the tenant alias in the URL string. And now if I'm going to scan the QR code, I will be asked again, please select the proper user and select the tenant if applicable. All right. I want to also share one thing with you, like such. I already told to you, sometimes it could be misleading, misunderstood by users because system will log out from the tenant to a tenant dedicated login page. This is it. And we also created a simple button so user does not need to go to the URL, delete the rest of that, just simple click to the home button, and then the browser will be redirected to the main login page of the Excalibur SAM deployment. Okay, so this is it. this is how the multi-tenancy works within the Excalibur SAM. Maybe we can also check what can be configured for the specific tenant configuration. As you can see, I'm within the tenant. So basically, tenant administrator can configure his own identity stores if needed. He can also configure his own security policies, geofences, geofence groups, and rule sets, or the tenant administrator can reuse rule sets that has been created by system administrator, and the same regarding the geofences and geofence groups. As you can see here in the geofences, there are system-based geofences, and here you can, as the tenant administrator, create your own tenant-based geofences. And basically, that's it. That's it about the multi-tenancy, about the principles, how Excalibur SAM has been built as the multi-tenant application. And Edo, please tell us something more about this limited offer, please.
All right, perfect. Yes, so as an Excalibur, we have also some connections to the European bodies, and one of these bodies provides for us also a possibility to have a limited offer for any small or medium or bigger company within the European Union to try Excalibur for free for 1 year. So it all includes all the features that we mentioned, all the details. It's not a demo, it's just the full access to the platform. It's in the version of SaaS preferably, but of course it can be also on premise. And yes, this is something that we will keep open by the end of August right now, and we are really happy to provide full configuration, deployment, onboarding, and support during this period. So if there is anybody interested about this, we can share it. We can share multiple other presentations and materials in the PDF to make sure we can spread this rumor a bit further into the European Union. So yeah, Natalia just dropped the link to the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and I will give you all the details that are needed to proceed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edo. So, obvious question. Are there any questions? Nothing so far. Let me check the chat section. Nothing. Okay. Thank you very much for your attendance. So if there aren't any questions, we would like to thank you again. Thank you for your attendance. And next week there will be a brand new workshop regarding the Excalibur PAM module. I would like to focus on two functionalities or functions that came in the few, I think, months ago, and it will be the just-in-time access and also peer verification when accessing the PAM target or when requesting the PAM session to PAM target covered by peer verification access policy. Okay, still no questions?
No, looks like
Nothing
no
so far.
questions. So, Marek, thank you so much for your presentation and Edo also for your part. And thank you all for your time, and we look forward to seeing you next week in our last workshop for this session. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a nice day.